They were partying in Puerto Rico as the partial government shutdown enters day 24 while the president sits at the White House.
This is a winter retreat by a Democratic Political Action Committee. There's 30-plus Democrats with their entire families.
Yet another migrant caravan is expected to head to the U.S. starting tomorrow.
You're never going to deal with the root cause of these issues, which will take a much longer-term solution, without having a secure border.
President Trump firing back at the New York Times report claiming he was investigated for being a Russian agent.
Clear as day now that this investigation appears to be motivated by political animus and just a general dislike to Trump. That's the bombshell.
Little surprise, falls back, throws, intercepted, went right through Jeffrey's hands. It's Lattimore. They knocked the champs out, and they show you why they were the #1 seed.
Welcome aboard, folks. It is Fox and Friends for a very busy Monday from a very chilly New York City. You know where it's nice and warm? Today's daytime high is going to be 80 degrees. Wouldn't it be great if we were in Puerto Rico or down in one of those islands? Actually, we know some people who were 30 members of Congress, all Democrats, on a weekend retreat.
Well, Steve, I know you got that wrong. There's a government shutdown. It's time to rally together and solve this problem. It's the longest shutdown in U.S. history.
Well, funny, you sound like Sarah Huckabee Sanders. That's what she tweeted out. She was wondering how all these federal workers are not getting paid, yet the Democrats are down there partying on the beach.
That's right. 30 Democratic lawmakers, all part of a Congressional Hispanic Caucus called a Bold PAC, had their winter retreat over the weekend. 30 lawmakers flew down on a chartered 737 with their families and their chiefs of staff. It was a retreat with 109 lobbyists and corporate executives, almost 4 lobbyists for every member of Congress, including people from R.J. Reynolds, Facebook, Comcast, Amazon, Microsoft, Intel, and Verizon.
Is that a coincidence?
They also had 3 different, well, there are a lot of things going on in that world of retreats, but just the fact that it's going on when there's a government shutdown, that is what we would refer to in politics as very bad optics.
Right. The timing of that is bad. They probably should have canceled it, or people should not have gone. There are 30 congressmen and women that are down there. We hear that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are not down there, but Bob Menendez was caught on the beach. There was a picture of him that's gone viral.
Lin Miranda is doing his showing of Hamilton. You know, he wrote all the songs, he created, he produced it, and he wants to raise money for him. That's where his dad was born, so he wanted to raise money there. So they had something to watch. They didn't just have to stay on the beach all day. The president did notice this and tweeted this out. I'm at the White House waiting for the Democrats are everywhere but Washington as people await their pay. They are having fun and not even talking. The damage done to our country from a badly broken drugs, crime border, drugs, crime, so much that is bad is far greater than a shutdown, which the Dems can easily fix as soon as they come back to Washington. Now, keep in mind, the polls show the people are on the Democrat side. They're more blaming the president and the Republican Party for that. In fact, 53% blame the president and the Republicans. Only 29% blame the Democrats. I sense when it becomes abundantly clear to independents that the president has nobody to negotiate with and this drags on, that number is going to close. And until that number closes, I don't see the Democrats changing their behavior.
The president's calling it a crisis. He wants funding for that wall. Democrats and Republicans hopefully can come to the table and figure something out. There's another migrant caravan that's apparently growing and building, and they're set to leave Central America.
Honduras.
And so Griff Jenkins is going to be down there live for us.
Tomorrow, because that's when it's supposed to set off. Regarding the government shutdown, today is day 24. And the president has made it very clear the Democrats have got to come back to the table. Just negotiate. Nancy Pelosi last week was very clear. Actually 10 days ago, not a dollar for that wall. And here you can see some of the things going on in Mexico. There is no end in sight. And so what you see on television are a number of Democrats trying to demonize the president's wall project by calling it this.
What we don't want to do is waste taxpayer money on a vanity project.
We are talking about a request for $5.6 billion that the American public knows can be spent on the issues that impact them every day, not on the president's vanity project.
What we're not doing is giving him more than $5 billion for a vanity project.
For one thing, this is a vanity wall.
Members of his own party who are expressing that disquiet about a vanity project.
Well, you know what? Is it a vanity project? Keep in mind, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, when he was running for president, made it very clear that he was going to crack down on illegal immigration. He was elected President of the United States on that promise. You know, we're going to build a wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. I still don't know how that part's going to work out. But nonetheless, it's not a vanity project. He's keeping a campaign promise. A lot of people across this country wanted him to do that. Now he's doing it. And that, perhaps, is why the Democrats are calling it a vanity project, because it's all about him. It's not. It's about a lot of people across the country who would like to see better border security.
Right. I will say this. People want to know how this is going to end. Well, one thing that the Democrats are counting on is that the Republican Senate will break, because Murkowski, Collins, Gardner have all weighed in and said, I hope that we can just reopen the government and then keep on talking. Keep in mind, you have 22 Republican senators that are up for re-election and just 12 Democratic senators. Right. Joni Ernst and Tillis also, they say, is exposed, and as well as Martha McSally, who was just appointed, as well as Senator Perdue.
Well, Senator Lindsey Graham said he thinks the president would support DACA protections if he got some funding for the wall, and he thinks that could be the way that they could negotiate.
Also, apparently there's an Axios story that's been ricocheting around the internet that talks about how in one of the early meetings where the President of the United States was negotiating, apparently in the White House, probably the Situation Room, with the congressional Democrats and Republicans. And at one point, Mick Mulvaney tried to compromise, give out a compromise number, and the president criticized him in quite graphic language for taking a different approach for him. That's one of the stories we're going to ask Kellyanne Conway about. She's a counselor to the President of the United States. She's going to be joining us 1 hour from right now. Meanwhile,
because just to expand on that a little bit, because he said, Mick, you basically got us into this mess because you didn't ask for enough money as OMB director to begin with. Right. We had 1.6. I needed more than that. You knew it. And that's how you got us into it. Also, Mick Mulvaney made it clear to Chris Wallace 2 weeks ago, you know, we're asking for 5, we settled for 2.5. So you give away your hand if you give away that number.
And the president felt in the meeting that he was compromising too much, and that's why the president apparently exploded at him. But we'll ask Kellyanne about that.
But they're still tight. They evidently are still getting along great.
Well, that's what they said afterwards. That's what they always say afterwards.
Do y'all remember Stacey Abrams? She was the one who ran for governor in the state of Georgia. She lost. You know, that race went on and on and on. What do you call it? The election season instead of election day. There she is right there. She was interviewed. And tell us what you think. Do you agree with her? Do you think that you should be a citizen in order to go to the polls and vote? Listen to what she said.
I think there's a difference between municipal and state and federal. The granularity of what cities decide is so specific as to, I think, allow for people to be participants in the process without it somehow undermining our larger democratic ethic that says that you should be a citizen to be a part of the conversation.
So in some cases you would be supportive of non-citizens voting?
I wouldn't oppose it.
So there she is. She says she's
Whose election is it?
She wouldn't oppose it. Sounds like she is open to non-citizens voting in local elections.
Fantastic. That'll be great, too, because Mayor de Blasio wants non-citizens to also get free health care. So I think that's clearly where the Democratic Party is going. Let's let non-citizens vote in elections, and let's let non-citizens get free medical care.
Does that mean
where do we come in as
Americans?
Americans?
The pictures of the caravans coming up, we will let you in, we'll pay for your health care, and you can vote.
And you can give them a ballot. You get a ballot at the gate.
So what do you think about that? Should non-citizens be able to vote in some local elections? That is already happening out in California in certain spots. There was a discussion apparently during that same program about maybe 16-year-olds should be able to vote as well in perhaps school board elections. And Abrams said she had to think about that, was not going to take a stand on it. Nonetheless, that brings up a question. Who should be voting during elections?
And you know what? Don't be surprised if she declares she's running for president. After all, she barely lost. Beto O'Rourke lost. He's running for president. Obviously, it seems pretty clear. Who knows? You know,
well, she was in Washington this past week to talk to Senate leaders, Democratic leaders, about perhaps running for Senate out of Georgia.
We'll see.
All right.
All right, let's hand it over to Jillian, who has some more headlines for us. Hey, Jillian.
That's right. Good Monday morning to you at home as well. And let's get you caught up on this story out of Wisconsin. The man accused of kidnapping Jamie Kloss and murdering her parents in October is due in court today. 21-year-old Jake Patterson is facing first-degree intentional homicide and kidnapping charges. Jamie's aunt telling Fox News Patterson had absolutely no contact with the family before the killings. The 13-year-old escaped last week. She is now staying with family. Extreme weather now blamed for at least 11 deaths across the Midwest and in Virginia. The massive winter storm continues to push east, dumping nearly a foot of snow in Washington. The storm forcing hundreds of flight cancellations and leaving at least 200,000 people without power. President Trump heading south today for the 100th annual Farm Bureau Convention. The president will address the crowd in New Orleans, talking about the agricultural industry in the U.S. This is the second time the president has appeared at the convention. It ends Wednesday. And a little bit of good news. Chris Pratt and Katherine Schwarzenegger are engaged. The actor posting this photo on Instagram, writing, quote, "Sweet Katherine, so happy you said yes. I'm thrilled to be marrying you. Proud to live boldly in faith with you. Here we go." She is the daughter of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. The two have been together since June, and they reportedly met through Katherine's mother, Maria Shriver. Isn't that adorable?
Now, are you heartbroken, though? Because he's
so cute.
They're going to be right? He is so cute, and he's such a good Christian. He always gives the Lord, talks about the Lord.
She's beautiful. So.
She is. We interviewed her. She wrote a children's book, and she was on our show.
Right.
She was very nice.
I think at like 19, she already had a book out. So another Schwarzenegger, who's an achiever.
He has a child with Anna Faris. And he talks about his son and how special he is.
Well, congratulations to the happy
congratulations.
couple. All right.
You know a lot about them.
I really like him. I really like him.
So obviously he gets People magazine.
No, we were in Hair and Makeup one day, and the whole team, we were all researching him and reading his Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, he grew up Lutheran, then he became a Jew for Jesus, and now he's non-denominational. Now he goes to non-denominational churches. I don't know if it's true. It's Wikipedia, but we were all researching him.
Well,
he's cute.
Congratulations.
He's cute. He got in shape. He has a cute.
It beats talking shutdown, right, Steve?
Congratulations to them. And to Tim Tebow, two guys that are wonderful, good Christian guys. They're
and even people we don't know who got engaged. Congratulations to all of them.
Right.
All right. Meanwhile, 7:12 here in New York City, while Congress gets back to work later today on trying to solve the partial government shutdown, good luck. Some Democrats are meeting with lobbyists while soaking up the sun in the Caribbean. We are live in Puerto Rico, coming up next.
But first, he wants to give sanctuary and health care to illegal immigrants. Now, California Governor Gavin Newsom wants to tax drinking water, finally. Governor Mike Huckabee is here.
This morning, Democrats are slammed for partying on the beach down in Puerto Rico as the partial government shutdown enters day 24.
Yep, dozens of Dems are in San Juan, especially Senator Menendez, pictured right there, even enjoying a Broadway show.
Rob Schmidt is live in Puerto Rico. We have dispatched him there. He's on the street in front of one of the fancy hotels that the Democrats were staying at this weekend for their winter retreat. Rob?
That's right. Yeah, it's the last day, guys. This is the hotel that they set up shop at, a very nice place. What a great environment to have this winter retreat. It's an annual thing that they do. They come down here. It's 83 degrees and sunny in January, and they love that, of course. But amid the partial government shutdown, of course, optically, it doesn't really look that good. This is a retreat put on by a Democratic Political Action Committee. It's 30-plus Democrats, a whole bunch of lobbyists and corporate owners, stuff like that, trying to get more money and more attention for this island territory that has really had a rough bout the last 10, 15 years even. They've come into tremendous debt. They've had the hurricane in 2017 that decimated the island. And today the Dems are going to be lobbied a bit more by a Latino Political Action Committee. They're going to meet with local leaders, talk about a lot of the anger over the forced austerity measures that have been put in place here, trying to get this island to live within its means and not rack up so much debt. The politicians also want more disaster relief down here and more control of it. So there have been meetings and there has been some work done, but there's also been plenty of leisure time. We're going to show you a picture here that is making the rounds. A great Instagram photo for Bob Menendez. Got the shirt off at the beach. Looking pretty good, having a nice time. got the nice tan going. Also a Hamilton special performance. The show came down here. All the politicians went to that yesterday afternoon. They got to party with the cast. Sarah Sanders in a tweet, and there have been a lot of tweets about this. The president has tweeted as well. Her tweet says, Democrats in Congress are so alarmed about federal workers not getting paid. They're partying on the beach instead of negotiating a compromise to reopen the government and secure the border. Now, we should say this is an annual event. As I said, it was planned a long time ago, long before the government was going to be shut down. So these people are just going through with it. But we do understand Nancy Pelosi was supposed to be here. She decided not to come. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Smart of her.
Yeah.
Well, then again, Nancy Pelosi was in Hawaii. Was it last week or the week before during the shutdown?
Too much beach.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Tough job.
Right. After a while, you get burnt out from the beach. All right, 19 minutes after the hour. The media going into a frenzy over those reports claiming the FBI investigated President Trump as a Russian agent, for example.
Deep damage control mode. It's like out of a movie. Has the president been turned, basically?
The tentacles are now leading to the top.
Mike Huckabee here to react, coming up.
And we are joining in on the biggest trend on social media right now. That how hard did aging, wait, what does it say? How hard did aging hit you challenge? Okay. Yeah. That's the picture I posted on social media. I guess you guys pulled it. That is, do I look a lot older?
Yeah, you look exactly the same. 235 years, that's how long ago the American Revolution officially ended. The Treaty of Paris was ratified on this day in 1784, marking the end of the years-long battle between Great Britain and the United States. We did win. Next, 37 years, that's how long this Italian fugitive has been on the run. Interpol agents traced a mobile device and arrested the convicted murderer in Bolivia. He was returned to Italy this morning. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people there to greet him. Finally, 42. That's how many babies the Phoenix Fire Department welcomed in 2018. The department sharing these adorable photos of the babies placed to spell PFD. The babies either have a mom, dad, or both parents working at the department.
Awesome.
Baby boom.
Yep, 24 minutes now after the hour.
Well, 2019 is already seeing its very first social media trend. It is called How Hard Did Aging Hit You?
And we're joining it's when you post your first ever profile photo on Facebook, which mine is screen left. I believe that was 2008.
I know, your son.
And then you compare it with your latest profile picture. As you can see, screen right with our cookbook. I have changed a little bit.
No.
Everyone's getting in on it as well. I believe that's me. And who better to join us? And also we have Janice here and Jillian here. And Dr. Oz is here, host of the Dr. Oz Show. Dr. Oz, what do you know about aging? You're not aging.
The way you learn about aging is by not doing it. But there's something called the real age test, taken by 35 million Americans, which tells you how old your body thinks you are. So when you see those two pictures, it's not just a chronological difference, because some of you have gotten younger, Ainsley being a good example, and others not. And the reason for that is that some things affect their aging, their major agers, more than others. Some are predictable, like are you eating a healthy diet versus fast food all the time, or are you getting the right amount of activity? But some of the stuff's surprising. And if you don't take care of those surprising items, all of a sudden your aging starts to accelerate. And Oprah and I started a company called ShareCare that does all this. When we look at actuarial tables of survival, insurance companies are using this now because it's more accurate than your chronological age in predicting how long you'll live. So I'll give you a couple surprising ones. Okay. High blood pressure. The number one major ager you would never think of, because it's silent, it's sneaking up on there. But it doesn't just affect your insides, it affects your eyes. It literally causes wrinkles when you have high blood pressure.
What if you're taking medicine for it? Does that offset it?
It offsets it to a large extent, yes. Not completely. It's better not to have the high blood pressure to begin with. Another one, major stressors in life, a divorce, bankruptcy. These things are critical. In fact, the major cause of these major stressors is financial. That's why companies like big insurance companies like Swiss Re get involved, because they realize if I can get you not to have financial stress, you'll live longer, I can sell you better insurance policies. So it's beginning to change the very fabric of how we do business.
What about hereditary?
So by the time you're age 50, 1/3 of how you age is genetic or hereditary, but 2/3 is lifestyle. You don't look like Brian by accident. He works at that, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he may have played soccer in high school, but it works when you do the right thing throughout your life. And you start to see that when you go back to your high school or college reunions. Right. Facebook shows that to you beautifully. Your ex-intern, my daughter Daphne, was in Zuckerberg's class. She was at Princeton, he was at Harvard, but the same class. They were the second ones to get Facebook. They all have those pictures. So they're doing this exact same exercise, and you start to see the difference between college graduation and now. But if you're 40 versus versus 50, that difference begins to accelerate if you don't take care of these basic real age determinants.
Should we start now? Like,
Well, I was
I'm
gonna say,
48, so can I start now to...
Yes, and it pays off more when you're older. Cigarette smoking is a good example. You will lose 8 years of your life if you smoke. However, when you stop smoking within 5 years, that risk goes almost to nothing. Look at that.
So-
That's a good example.
so
That's a
while-
non-smoker for you.
While we're looking at this, I mean, some of it we can't control, talking about genetics and hereditary things, but what can we control outside of smoking, drinking? Is it sleep? Is it diet? What are
Jillian,
the
there
most
you are
important
10 years
factors?
ago.
I was very blonde then.
So
I did the reverse.
So
I went
we learn a lot about what makes a difference by looking at the blue zones. The blue zones are places on the planet where people just live a lot longer to age 100 than most of the rest of the places. And what they do is build communities where people tend to be healthy. The smartest thing you can do is have a social connection, not be lonely. The biggest epidemic in America now is loneliness. And be with people who are healthy. If you're an overweight person, you hang with thin people, you'll lose weight. If you live in a community where people support each other through big stresses, especially, you can weather the stresses. That's what's allowed humanity to survive. The safety net of our society has always been each other.
Sure.
And when we forget that, then we begin to age rapidly.
So what you're saying is everybody has a chronological age, but your real age, which you have helped develop over the last couple of decades, you can actually change your real age.
And Mike Roizen developed it at the Cleveland Clinic. It's well established. And I mentioned earlier the fact that it's being used by insurance companies to predict your mortality because it's that powerful. And it treats you like an adult. Take the test because it'll let you know what really matters. Listen, you give up.
Where do you get the test?
Oh, it's free. Go to realage.com. Go to ShareCare. Download the ShareCare app. It's on there. Super easy.
Okay.
ShareCare app's already 30 million Americans use it already. So take advantage of that. But the biggest message it gives you is what really matters. If you give up meat, you'll live a few months longer. A few months. If you
So
give
is
up
it worth it?
cigarettes, it's 8 years longer.
Wow.
Focus on the big stuff.
And being happy, right?
Happiness is critical, but how do you find happiness? Purpose and meaning. That's, again, all these blue zone folks teach you that. And you get that by being in community with folks who are like-minded as you. You got to pick the right tribe. You have to pick the people that you can get along with and identify with you. This is a big reason why we have this quiet in America now.
Right.
We're uncomfortable talking about that reality. But you got to find people that connect with you, and that's a two-way street.
Right. Social media, you might think it brings people together, but it's kind of, in many cases, bring people apart because they don't have any real relationships anymore. They don't have to interact like they used to in order to get them.
There's nothing more powerful than looking at someone in the eyes that you care about, and we even cook together, right? Right. And so if you look at it and you connect, it means something. That's the human connection. Our prefrontal cortex, our brains grew the size they are. Not to go hunting. We need a walnut-sized brain to go hunting. They grew the size to connect with each other. We look at each other's faces. I can tell you, feeling good, are you aging well? Because this physical beauty is a barometer of inner health. I can tell pretty quickly if I want to mate with you or not, partner with you, do I trust you? That's all about our brains connecting. We got to do it.
And we should use moisturizer.
There's a lot going
always
on.
moisturize. Always moisturize.
You know what? We would love to see your social media pictures. Do a split screen for us if you could. Show us you 10 years ago and you today. Email them to us, friends at foxnews.com.
And watch the Dr. Oz show whenever you can.
And get a good tribe like we have.
Yeah,
We have like Casey
No,
Anthony's
keep
parents
away
tonight.
from the Bloods and Crips.
Oh, my goodness.
George Anthony's coming on with his wife. He's in a halo. I went to visit him down in Orlando. Was it a suicide attempt or was he in a bad accident by accident? We'll find out.
Also,
Really?
get good Botox and have a good hair and makeup team, and you'll never age.
There you have it. There you have it.
That's something we can all relate
A little filler, a little tuck here.
No comment.
Right.
This has got off the rails big time.
And moisturize.
Smoke, but get a good Botox treatment.
That's right.
And good lighting.
All right. Meanwhile, coming up straight
God bless you.
He wants to give free health care to everybody in New York, including people in the country illegally. So is Mayor Bill de Blasio going to bring that idea to the White House? What he just revealed about his 2020 plans coming up.
He's probably not up yet.
Plus, we got Governor Mike Huckabee in the next hour of Fox.
This bombshell New York Times report.
Our bombshell breaking news.
It is indeed a bombshell.
This is very explosive.
They are in deep damage control mode. It's like out of a movie. Has the president been turned, basically?
The tentacles are now leading to the top. Now it's the president of the United States of America.
Well, as you can hear right there, a lot of bombshell talk over the weekend. Let's bring in Mike Huckabee, Fox News contributor, former Arkansas governor, and the author of a great book called Rare, Medium, or Done Well. Governor, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. You know, when I watch these Democrats, the one thing is certain, they all get the same script and they say exactly the same words. I mean, the words themselves. And I just wonder, can a Democrat think for himself
like
or
Vanity
herself,
Project,
or do they have to have someone to hand them the script? It's just amazing to me.
Well, you have the New York Times
control.
Yeah, you have the New York Times story that opened up first off, and then the Washington Post the next day. They talked about the FBI opened up an inquiry into whether President Trump was secretly working on behalf of Russia, because he made that comment about, hey, Russia, if you're listening, I want Hillary Clinton's 30,000 emails. And because he made that statement to Lester Holt, that he fired James Comey to get the heat off of the Russia investigation. But if you listen to the rest of the interview, he said, I know by firing Comey, it's actually going to heat up. It could make things worse. So they listed all these things as if they're new revelations. I thought I was reading a different article, Governor.
Well, what scares me the most is if the FBI can decide on its own to go and investigate a duly elected president of the United States and just decide to go after him because they want to. Guys, I'm going to tell you something. This is incredibly damaging to the way our constitutional republic is supposed to work. And for me, there was a bombshell. And it wasn't that President Trump made a joke about Hillary's 30,000 emails. What is a bombshell is that you have the highest law enforcement agency in the country that decides to go after, on a clandestine investigation, the president of the United States. Tell me, what do you think would be the reaction if the FBI had decided to investigate Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, or anybody else for that matter, just because they had heard something based on rumor? This is really, really scary stuff if you stop and think about it.
And it doesn't change anything, because still no collusion we keep hearing. Now, Chris Christie was asked about it over the weekend, and he said that the president should use this. He should embrace the story. He said the FBI acted in a rogue manner. They were overstepping. The president should tweet about the failing New York Times, how insulted he is. And he says the president should say, this is what I've been saying all along. He should use it in his favor. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely do. I think, at some point, somebody's got to take a good Dyson vacuum cleaner to go over to the FBI and just clean out the leadership, because there's something wrong
They are been cleaned
at the
out.
top.
Governor, they have been cleaned out.
Well, but there needs to be then accountability for those who are being cleaned out, and there's still some there that shouldn't be. The rank and file deserve better leadership than this. They're good people in the FBI. They're good, hardworking people of integrity that are disgusted with what's happened to their agency that they've committed themselves to. And they deserve better leadership. And I'm really hoping that there will be people truly held accountable, not just fired, but I'm talking about truly held accountable. And some need to be prosecuted for using their positions as a political weapon against elected officials.
Let's see if the IG or the DOJ do anything about that. Don't hold your breath.
And I just got one thing to add. Jonathan Karl, who's not a friend of the president for the most part, reported on Sunday that what he's getting from people in and around the Mueller investigation is that it's almost certainly going to be anticlimactic. He says the New York Times reporting that Mueller has done anything, what the New York Times reporting, there's no sign that Mueller is following that lead at all. Mueller's investigation doesn't show any collusion. It will not show any collusion or coordination with Russia, or any knowledge of that. So can you imagine if the Mueller report comes out and it's anticlimactic? Do you think that maybe the media is getting word of that and beginning to start their own?
Well, I think that's part of it, Brian. I mean, look at Donald Trump's life in the greater context. This is a man who has been a business guy. He's made money all over the world, but there's no indication ever that he has even thought about betraying his country. What they're accusing him of, what they're saying they're investigating, is something that is of the most monumental kind of crime that a person would do, to betray one's country. There's no indication Donald Trump does anything other than truly love this great nation of ours and is fighting to make it better. And the very notion that these people are accusing him of something like that is, to me, beyond outrageous. And I hope that there will be some again, I'm going to use the word accountability for not only the people in the FBI. I'd love to see some accountability in the news media about the way that they have lied about this president, lied about his motives, lied about what he's done, and not told the story of the things that he has accomplished that have made America great again. To borrow a phrase that I heard somewhere, I'm not sure where, but it just popped into my head.
Right. Well, let's see where those fact checkers are when that comes out. All right, Governor Mike Huckabee, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us from the Panhandle of Florida.
Thank you.
Great to be with you guys. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's hand it over to Jillian, who has some headlines for us. Hey, Jillian.
That's right. Good morning. And let's begin with this story right now. The head of the California utility company facing potential criminal charges over last year's deadly wildfires has recently.
Are you considering running for president?
Jake, I'm focused on the job I have.
But are you considering running for president?
I'm focused on my job.
You ruling it out?
I never rule things out because you never know what life brings.
De Blasio slamming fellow Democrats for being too moderate, saying he wants to push the party further left. Thousands of patriotic hockey fans picking up a big assist after the national anthem singer forgets his microphone. The crowd at the Columbus Blue Jackets game belching the words of the Star-Spangled Banner. The singer has been with the team for 16 years. You know, we've all got those moments.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, but way to go, crowd.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yep. Thanks, Jillian.
All right, it is a cold day here in New York City, and nonetheless, Janice Dean is weathering the chilly weather with some friends out
I
on the
like
street.
it. Yes, indeed. What's your name? Where are you from, sir?
Randy Jones from Brooklyn, New York.
You guys?
Robert Bryan from Seadrift, Texas.
Christy Bryant from Seadrift, Texas.
All right, this is your first trip to New York, right? And you're here on Fox and Friends. Congratulations. Yeah. All right, let's take a look. You dressed appropriately. That's very good. Look at the temperatures. 23 right now in New York City. And with the wind chill, it feels even colder than that. Cold air as far south as the Gulf Coast. That storm system that brought incredible amounts of snow across the Midwest, parts of the Central Plains, and even the Mid-Atlantic is now exiting. However, I want to point your attention to the next storm system that is going to bring a lot of heavy rain to the coast and some snow across the Sierra Nevada range, the Rockies. And then this system is going to combine with a couple of other systems. And look at this as we head into the weekend. Ice and the potential for heavy snow, maybe even getting into New York City up towards Boston. So stay tuned, my friends. All right, back inside where it's warm. Thanks for coming, everybody. Come on over here. Give me a big hug. All right, yay.
She needs it today. It is especially cold out there today.
It is chilly.
Thanks, Janice. Tell them hello from us. All right, tens of thousands of illegals arrested in the Rio Grande sector just last year, and our next guest lives there. She's the daughter of a Border Patrol agent who was furloughed, and her whole family is rallying behind President Trump to build that wall.
And he's a legendary rapper. Now Snoop Dogg is trying out a new career. All right, President Trump is putting the heat on Democrats this morning as the shutdown enters day 24, an all-time record. Moments ago, we tweeted this. I've been waiting all weekend. Democrats must get to work now. Border must be secured. Nancy and Crying Chuck can end the shutdown in 15 minutes. At this point, it has become their and the Democrats' fault. But as Dems refuse to budge on border funding, Border Patrol agents working overtime in the Rio Grande Valley sector, where 40% of all apprehensions last year occurred, over 162,000 in total. This region is where our next guest lives, and her life has been affected. She's the daughter of two furloughed Border Patrol federal workers. One's a Border Patrol agent, the other works for the VA, and says President Trump has her family's full support during the shutdown. That daughter, Tori Roberts, joins us right now. Tori, the shutdown, you're still behind it, even though it's hurting your family personally. Why?
Good morning, Mr. Kilmeade. Yes, I am still behind the shutdown because I do believe that a border wall will help us tremendously here at home. I think that Mr. President Trump is staying strong, and that's a good thing to show the Democrats how much we need that wall.
Tori, what has your dad said about what's going on at the border? What makes you think it's such a crisis?
Not just what my dad has said, but what I've seen myself. I've noticed that there is illegal immigrants just in our streets, in our school system, even in offices and working places. And that's not right because many of them are on welfare and we are the taxpayers who are paying for it.
So you have 8 in 10 Democrats say they don't want the wall and they don't see this as a crisis. 9 in 10 Republicans see it the opposite way. How do you explain the difference?
I think the Democrats right now, I'm sorry to say this, but they're a bit confused because as we all have seen the clips of them saying the wall is good and they supported it when Obama was here. We have part of Obama's wall here in Brownsville, which is a nearby city. So I don't understand why Democrats are flip-flopping on this topic. The wall is there. It just needs to be expanded and built higher and better. So I think they're just trying to play against Trump right now.
So I understand your mom works for the VA, your dad works for Border Patrol, so both of you, for both, they're not being able to get a paycheck yet. The money's going to come, but not yet. How is it affecting you guys?
It's affecting us kind of tightly. My mom always tells me, we're on shutdown. Be careful with your money. Don't go spending it. Don't go out with your friends as much. So it's kind of hard, but I know it's worth it, and we will be okay. It's not that big of a deal. We will be able to make it. We have savings, so it's all good as long as we just stay careful and don't spend anything major.
And they're still going to work, right?
Yes, of course. They're going to work every day, and they're happy to go to work because they know they're making a difference for our country.
Tori, have you seen the difference in your schools from illegal immigration in your area? Has that really shown up in your schools?
I have noticed in my schools a few bad influences have come into town, different ways of getting items that students should not be a part of. Even on social media, people will be posting illegal things that students my age should not be seeing. So I really have seen a difference within my school as well.
Tori, I'm not going to tell you what to do for a living, but I will say this. I'm thinking political science, running for office at some point, but I know you have some time to make that decision. Tell your parents, thanks so much, and thanks for joining us this morning, Tori.
Thank you, Mr. Kilmeade.
All right, you're right. Coming up straight ahead, we change gears a little bit. Counsel to the President, Kellyanne Conway, here live at the top of the hour to talk about everything White House related. And it's the question on every football fan's mind this morning. Why is Tom Brady's sideline jacket so huge? Carly Shimkus with the reaction pouring in on social media next.
He always catches our eye, right? Well, he's catching a lot more eyes now from football fans all over the country not because of his game, actually, this time. Why, Brian?
Well, viewers flocking online to debate, did his oversized jacket, sideline jacket, I should say, get even bigger in this playoff game?
Look at that. It's gigantic. Here with reaction lighting up social media, Fox News Headlines 24/7 reporter Carly Shimkus. Carly, if that's what it takes to win the game, everybody should be wearing
Yeah,
that,
we should
right?
all be wearing them so we could all be winners. It looks like a couch cover.
Do they wear those to keep warm?
Yeah, so football fans would know, I'm sure, Brian, you know that they wear these big coats to keep them warm, Ainsley.
And they
like
have to go over their shoulder pads.
But
has
not
to go
that
over
big.
shoulders.
I don't know what that is.
It really does feel, and it looks like we have photographic evidence that this coat of Tom Brady specifically just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. So there are so many tweets, people making fun of and poking fun of this coat. Lindsay says, why is Tom Brady's coat so big? Is it full of, deflated
balls? We're back to that.
Patriots fans aren't going to like that tweet. And then Mark says, people should stop making fun of Tom Brady. Everyone knows the coat camera adds 210 pounds.
That's good.
But they did win by a lot.
Oh, yeah, they won by a whole lot.
All right, so keeping with sports, let's talk a little bit about hockey, and there's a new voice in the booth.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg on ice. So he announced the LA Kings game on Saturday, and he took things to the next level. Take a listen.
Snoop Dogg in the house. Let me see some. Drop the sticks, man. Let's get cracking, man, to the middle of the rink. Let's go. Yeah, go get him, Dion. Get him, Dion. Move, Dion. Get out the way. Go get him.
He's a very talented guy in many arenas.
I'm not sure you should cheer on fighting.
Yeah, wait, I got to get to some tweets. So Tina says Snoop Dogg missed his true calling in life. And then Ryan says Snoop is everyone that watches hockey but has no clue how hockey's played. He is actually a big-time hockey fan. He's regularly spotted at games. Pretty eclectic guy with the cooking show with Martha Stewart. Right. Also an NHL announcer. Who knew?
He also has a game show, I think.
That's right.
He's a busy guy.
He's a busy guy.
No time to rap.
Thank you.
Right.
I know, rapping, that's so last year for me.
Right.
Carly, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, coming up, Counselor to the President Kellyanne Conway is going to be joining us live from the White House in a couple of minutes.
Plus, Michelle Malkin, DeRoy Murdoch, and Michael Goodwin. They're all live in the next hour.